Cricket presents The Warm-Up. Hey folks, I'm your host Neil Beasley, and it's the final regular season week of the season, so we gotta get you warmed up. It's the last week of the regular season, and district titles plus playoff spots are on the line. Let's preview some of the playoff scenarios in the lineup. The biggest playoff mess could be in 8-6A, where 4 teams are battling for 3 spots. Arlington Bowie has won the district title, and Arlington High has clinched a spot. In South Grand Prairie, Haltom and Arlington Martin are alive for the last 2 spots, which means Thursday's games between Martin and Arlington at UT Arlington and Bowie versus SGP at Gopher Warrior Bowl are of utmost importance. If South Grand Prairie can upset Bowie, they're in. It's not as easy as it sounds, as the Volunteers have been mowing down the competition in 8-6A after a tough non-district slate. However, running back Darian Bowers and quarterback Larry Nichols have helped the Vols put up ridiculous offensive numbers, the kind of numbers the rest of the district hasn't been able to match. The Warriors' Josiah Lucas has rushed for almost 1,300 yards and will be the one SGP will rely on to go point for point with the Volunteers. Still might be a tough hill to climb, though. A loss doesn't eliminate them, however. A loss and a Martin win over Arlington by 8 or more points does. Haltom only needs a victory over 2-7 Sam Houston to taste the postseason themselves. Midlothian and Red Oak played another wild affair last Friday night that ended up in a close win for the Panthers. Now all Midlothian needs is a home victory over Highland Park. The Panthers are 7-5A Division I district champs. Before we get all crazy, I think we know that's a little more easier said than done. The Scots have been manhandling all their 5A competition since moving back down from 6A this season. District foes haven't come within 3 touchdowns of them. Buck Randall has thrown for over 2,000 yards and 23 touchdowns on the year. Midlothian coach Doug Wendell will need his son, Bo, to do a masterful job of running that offense, plus control the time of possession for the Panthers to pull this upset off. You gotta love win and you're in games, right? Well, we've got one in 10-6A as Forney visits Rockwall Heath for that 4th and final spot in the show. Heath has won 2 of their last 3 games to put them in this position. That includes a huge 3-point win over hated rival Rockwall High. Prosper Deal has filled in for injured Landon Dudka behind center quite nicely and has thrown for almost 1,000 yards. For the Jackrabbits, head coach Jeff Fleener was ecstatic to have Javian Osborne back in the lineup for their win over Tyler Legacy. The junior running back ran for 115 yards on just 8 carries and had 3 touchdowns in the 31-point win. They'll need more of the same from Osborne if Forney wants to make the postseason in their first run through 6A.
Freeflation leaves economists baffled. Getting more for less? It's true for those who switch to Cricket and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket. Inside High School Sports is brought to you by Whataburger, just like you like it. And by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
Our Inside High School insider, Matt Diggs, gives us his thoughts on some of the key matchups in the last week of the season in the picks.
It is the last week of the season where dreams become nightmares for some teams, and district championships and playoff positioning will be on the line. Thursday, we will start out at Arlington Martin versus Arlington. Depending on the results of the 2 other games in this district, there could be a 2, 3, or 4-way tie involving Arlington Martin and Arlington, but only if Arlington Martin is able to upset Arlington. Arlington Martin has had a tough year, but one of the adjustments that Arlington Martin has made has been moving the quarterback Brooks Brygance to kind of a wide back position where he has absolutely excelled. Hunter Squires has stepped in at quarterback for Arlington Martin and has also done admirably Coleman Cravens, the quarterback for Arlington, has played great this year, and I think we're going to see a high-scoring affair. Arlington Martin needs to win this game by 8 to not worry about anything else and worry about the other possible scenarios. I think they'll do that. I think we're going to see a game where you have to score 60 to win this game. I think Arlington Martin will score that 60, and I think they will win by enough to overcome Arlington. And South Grand Prairie, if they don't beat Arlington Bowie, might be that odd team out. Prosper Rock Hill versus McKinney has a lot of different scenarios attached to it, depending on how Plano East and Allen is able to fare. But I think McKinney, with their big name talent, will have a little bit of an edge. Christian McIntosh makes big catches in big situations. Jeremiah Dowd is very elusive and able to do things. Prosper Rock Hill has got to figure out the quarterback situation. Jair Cogshell plays great, but they have a situation where they rotate with Christian Lewis. I don't know what's happening there with Rock Hill at times. I think McKinney is going to lean on their big names, and they're going to take care of this situation and beat Rock Hill to guarantee themselves a playoff spot. District 5-5A Division 1, it's straight up for a playoff. It's straight up for the district championship with Frisco Lone Star versus Frisco Reedy. Frisco Lone Stars had to make a lot of changes because of their all-everything, Davian Grossi, being hurt. I think they're trying to figure out who they are and how they're going to progress into the playoffs. All of a sudden, John Madden was asked to step in. Not the guy with the bus, but Lone Star's own John Madden was able to step in, and he had a great game. Carice Hoyt moved to running back and wide receiver, where he fared very well. Bryson Jones was the beneficiary of this. He had over 180 yards, but probably one of the better players on the field is going to be Josiah Fuchsa. He played great on the defensive side of the ball for Frisco Reedy. Can he cause another 2 turnovers like he did? That will be big. Jake Ferner will need to have a big game, but I think Frisco Lone Star will have the ultimate edge, and I think they'll win this game comfortably. Final game we're going to look at is Forney versus Rockwell Heath. This is straight up for the last playoff spot. Rockwell Heath had 3 different players throw touchdowns. We talk about if you have 2 quarterbacks in the situation, what about 3? Rockwell Heath, 3 quarterbacks that threw touchdowns. Ashton Bradford, their primary running back, who is playing great. Javian Osborne came back for Forney against Tyler Legacy. Nelson Peterson's been playing great, but I still worry about the defense. I don't worry about Rockwell Heath's defense. I think Rockwell Heath will take care of business and get that last playoff spot against Forney. I'm the Professor, and those are my Week 11 picks.
We caught up to a big-time athlete from the gridiron in this week's Recruiting Trail.
Lee Almanza, and I play corner at Byron Nelson. Really what I was looking for is just like feeling like a family. You know, whenever I was up at Baylor, that's just what I felt when I was there. And being close to home, you know, it meant a lot to me because my parents could, you know, go to pretty much all my games. So, I mean, those are 2 pretty important things. And, you know, the coaching staff, I really like Coach Aranda, Coach Curtis, Coach Pallage, all those guys. I built a great relationship with them, and yeah, it's the place I wanted to be. Really just, I mean, coming in and working hard and just, you know, just playing wherever I can. If I gotta play safety, if I gotta play corner and nickel, like no matter what I gotta do, if I could get on the field, I'm gonna do it. And yeah, that's just what I'm trying to do when I get there. Off the field, I really like. I'm always watching film like with my quarterback because I play receiver too. So I'm either watching film with my quarterback, you know, whenever we're like we got a class together, so I watch film with him. On defense, I'm really just trying to. I'm a really big communicator on the field. Like I try to get all my guys on the same page. And whenever we do that, we're executing a lot better. On the field, I feel like I'm pretty calm most of the time, but you know somebody's gonna say something every now and then. Then you kind of got to get after it. But I feel like I'm pretty calm on the field. Just yeah. That I get me in this class, we're gonna come in and it's gonna be something special. Like we're gonna bring a lot of wins, and you know we're gonna be in the playoffs. In the classroom, I've been accomplishing what I want to accomplish. You know, I've been pretty good at my grades. My parents hold me to a pretty high standard since I've been growing up. So I mean, that's been pretty important to them. My mom was a teacher, so she's always been on my case about that. And on the field, I'm just trying to take us as far as we can in the playoffs. You know, with these guys. You know, I'm not trying to have an early ending, and I'm just trying to play as many games as I can. The legacy I want to leave is just like people can look up to me and know that like I was a good dude and I could be a good role model to kids. You know, like I'll have kids coming to me after the game, and I'm just trying to be the best role model I can be for them. And I want the coaches to be like they're talking about me, it's in a good context. Like, I was a hard worker. I watched film. I knew what I was doing. I just kind of want to leave that, like, good role model legacy behind.
Cricket Wireless has an offer that's going to blow up your group chat. 4 lines for only $25 per month each with nationwide 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket. Inside High School Sports is brought to you by Golden Chick. One taste and you're golden. And by Kubota, the #1 selling compact tractor in Texas. For details, visit gokubota.com. Kubota, together we do more.
Our producer, Ward Fasold, caught up with Arlington Bowie head coach Joseph Sam to talk Volunteers football and what it's like to be 8-6-8 champions in this week's Media Day segment.
All right, it's Media Day. We are talking with Joseph Sam, head coach over there at Arlington Bowie. Coach, we talked during the offseason. We talked about how special that offense was going to be. But, man, I guess I really didn't know. I didn't listen. I must not have listened to you because you guys – you put up crazy points during the non-district, but none of those games turned out in your favor. But once you got into district play, man, you're taking that crown from Martin and you're putting it on your head, tilted to the side a little bit. Talk about how the season has gone for the Volunteers.
Well, it's gone a lot like I pretty much planned it. Probably not exactly like we planned because we're probably 6 plays away from probably being 8-1 right now. Lost 2 games in overtime. But, when you're breaking in 9 new starters on defense, you're going to take lumps early. And then, we had some injuries early. And out of precaution, we kind of held some kids out. And so, our defense has grown up, led by Okello and Jeremiah Brinson. Those 2 guys have done a great job, leading those 2 because, they were the only 2 guys that were full-time starters at the position that they played going into the season. And so, Coach Shane Ferguson's done a great job.
Well, it's interesting because now you're in a position where this last game, this Thursday night, not only do you get to solidify an undefeated district season, but you can play spoiler role too. You can also knock out one of your district teams or at least throw them into some sort of tiebreaker where they got to hope for extra help. Does that put a little extra motivation? Because sometimes when you wrap up a title, it's hard to have that motivational speech, but now you can say, hey, we can also be the villains here. We can knock them boys out.
No, I think we're playing Coach DeLay, who does a good job. I think they were probably 2 or 3 plays from winning the game last week against Haltom.
Yep.
And I think, what I told our kids is let's just focus on being 1-0. The good thing about being in this situation, being 1-0, you're the undefeated district champ, that you can be undefeated and undisputed.
There you go.
Just being, and they got to figure that out on their own. We're just going to take care of business. And like I told our kids, let's go into the playoffs being sharp rather than, coming in, sitting kids and the rust. Yeah. And I just want our kids to stay sharp mentally because we know that's the biggest thing that we've fought so far this year. We're going to get SGP's best shot because they're playing. If they beat us, they guarantee a spot. They don't want to get in the point scenario. Right. Because they could be out on the scenario. So, we're going to get their best shot. So it's kind of like a warm-up playoff game for us. It's kind of what we're kind of approaching it as and kind of make sure our kids are in the right mentality because we're also, the good thing also is that we're going to enemy territory. So it's definitely us versus them when it comes to the situation at hand. So.
Absolutely. Heading down in that Go for Warrior Bowl, man. We'll be there Thursday night with the camera. Good luck, Coach, and good luck in the postseason as well. Thank you for joining me.
I appreciate y'all for covering us and highlighting our program.
Hey, that'll do it for today's show. Thanks for joining us, and we leave you with Professor Diggs' DFW rankings. Hope you're now warmed up for some Texas high school football this weekend.